Hey guys, it is Rizovo here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to use Premiere Pro. So, first of all, when you start off, you'll be greeted with the splash screen saying to create a new project, type in new, keep the settings as is normally. So, call it whatever you want, and keep its location wherever you want it to be. Display format should be timecode, audio samples, and DV. That's all that I know. Make sure you keep your settings that way. So, to import media, there's 3 ways to do it. My personal favorite when I start a project is to double click here, which I'm not going to do, to push file and import, or control I. I just double click here and import the media that I'm going to use. So let's just say I went to my setup and I was going to import this footage, all the footage I took for this. It would import the files like normal. Just checking it's recording, and then they're all here. This is your timeline here. This is just going over simple things. This is the source for when you like double click on here. This was like the
Okay, so this is my room.
that was the start of that video that I had. Effect controls you get to shortly. Audio clip mixer, I don't use these. I use these main two. I keep this on the editing view, and this is pretty much default. Now it's not anymore. So this was my starting footage. I just clicked and dragged it over here to the timeline until it had that plus. Now it is here on the timeline. To view it, you can view it at full quality, but I personally view it at quarter quality so I don't get any frame jumps, which I will if I try and preview it. Here is my audio of what I can hear. So if I go to the start here, I can make sure it's on here, drag this across to here. So I can go.
Okay, so this is my room.
So that was my room. And then, see, if you push V, you go to this normal selection tool, but C takes you to this, so you can just cut it here. Make sure these 3 things are selected. What this will do is when it's unselected, let's say I go back with V, I click here, it will drag the video without the audio. That's why you want to drag them both at once. If you have any problems, remember Control Z to undo. This thing snaps, so like see how this goes right through. I can just Control Z that, turn back on the snap, and now look at this. It will like magnetize right there, so we don't really have any problems with like linking up stuff. And what this will do is it just overwrites. It's something that many people will want. So we'll push delete on the keyboard while this one's selected white, and that is now gone. We can now get some cinematic footage. So here we can see how long the video footage is. I can see that this is 11 seconds. So I'm going to drag this on, and in the case with this is I actually filmed it so it would pan across, but I filmed it so it panned across to the side. So what we can do is we can right click on this and we can go to speed/duration. I'm going to reverse the speed, which will make it be reversed video. You can also make the duration shorter, which will make it faster, so it is like, let's say you have a 10-second video that we want to be 15 seconds, you can make it exactly 15 seconds, so it will slow down the video. So there we go, I've reversed the video, and I'm gonna go to where I wanted it to start. So I want it to start around there. I'm gonna get this here. Sorry, that's just my computer. Drag this across here, and I'm gonna drag it here, so it's gonna be like, and then I don't want even that audio that you can't hear. So I unselected that thing, so I can just delete this audio Then I reselect it so I don't accidentally select the wrong stuff. So that's the main cutting and copying and pasting and all of that. Another thing, go away Siri, maybe I want the audio to fade in. So here when you click on this, like with the footage, you may notice effect controls comes up. First of all, there's motion with position, which you can drag them back and forth to make the position different. And I'm going to undo that. And the scale, so bigger and smaller. I'm going to again undo that here. Or you can double click on the video, but I don't like doing that as much. Only if you really need to position something easier and quicker. Another thing is rotation, anchor point, which I wouldn't recommend mucking around with. Opacity, so let's just say I drag this up and I put this here. So let me drag this away for a second. Here, with the opacity, I can drag this down and make it more so you can see the background. But in this case, I do not need to do that. So I'm going to just keep it like it is and undo any changes I've made here. That's a thing we'll get to. So level is the volume, which it is. You drag it up and down, but see this stopwatch icon that's blue? It's for time remapping. So let's say I'm gonna get this and add a keyframe here, so it's at 0 decibels, which means it's normal volume. And then here I'm gonna drag it all the way down, and you can see here that it added another keyframe. So this is what it will fade in the audio.
Okay, so
you won't hear it there, so maybe I'll drag this out a bit more.
Okay, so this
you can hear how it fades in, and you can do it with all of these, like motion. You can have it go here to here to here to here, and then just like in circles and stuff if you want it to. You can go to the effects tab now, and really the only things you're going to be using are video effects and video transitions. So if you don't want a quick cut like what I use in all of my things, you can get a video transition. So mainly you might use like a film dissolve here and drag it here so it does a, see how it fades in. If I'm pushing arrows on my keyboard to go back one frame or forward one frame, and I push spacebar to play, you can see it fading between the two. So it looks pretty nice. So there's like slides, wipes, zooms and all that, which you can mess around with. Video effects, adjust, that's just like if you're adjusting normal things. I wouldn't recommend getting into this unless you feel that you know a lot more. You can do color correction and lots of other things in here. I personally use the blurs a lot and the color corrections, of course, and the keying a little bit now and then. So that is the main things you can do in here. If you have a song, it will only drag an audio file, it won't have a video file. And maybe you might have a video in the form of a song. So let's say we go back to support for videos, music, and I put in a video that I downloaded for a song. So let's say I put in this song here. You can put it in and just uncheck that, delete this. Don't normally hide or mute. That's what this is, mute and hide. Like you can hide this, but maybe you hide some video that you wanted to have in there. I could have this here, and I'm gonna just cut it here and uncheck this with level, so it will not get louder and quieter. It will stay at one volume, and I'll put it maybe down to -30, so it sounds like this.
So this is my,
I can hardly hear it, so I'm gonna turn it up.
so this is my room.
You can't really hear that, so I'm gonna I think this is the song I used in it. Here. I'll just cut it to this bit.
Room.
See how it... That sounds pretty good, in my opinion.
So this is
You can make this be zoomed in, like 200%, but I've got it to fit, so it will fit in this area. That is the main things you do here. Next thing, you export. So you either export, I would always export as media, but I normally just push Control M, and if you push Control M right after opening a project and nothing comes up, maybe you have to push play and play like 1 second, and then push Control M. So after I push Control M, this is not responding for a second, but we'll get into this. So this might look a little bit complicated, but I'll show you what to do. So do what I do. So format is in H.264, not H.264 Blu-ray. And then down here, so up here I've got my preset, and I'll show you what it is. So I scrolled down on here, I'm just holding down on that down arrow, and until I get to YouTube 1080p. I'm not going for 4K because this video isn't 4K. Choose an output name, so maybe I'll call it beautiful tutorial. I don't know. Save. It won't save the video. So export video, export audio. You want both of those. And don't muck around with the effects. Make sure they're all unchecked. Go into video, and it will be 1920 by 1080. That's 1080p. My frame rate is at 60. It depends on your footage. Normally it will be 30, but I've got mine at 60, which is 59.94 in my case. Keep this as progressive. Aspect is square pixels. NTSC, high, 4.2. Like this will be normal, but render at maximum depth. You can check that. I check VBR2 pass, and my maximum bitrate I'm going to put all the way up to 50. This will not change your file size, but it will take rendering a lot longer with 2 pass, but it looks a lot better. Maximum render quality, yes. And I don't change any of these because this video is not VR and I don't know how to do that. Keep these the way they are and everything else the same. Do not push Q. Make sure you push export. And that will go through exporting. It will have a percentage, and once that's done, you'll find it in the output folder where you put it there. I'm gonna push cancel because that's all I need to do. And that was just a basic tutorial on how to use Adobe Premiere Pro. If you liked that, please don't forget to drop a like down below. This is Rizovo, and I'm signing out.